Help support the show by joining the Patreon or becoming a YouTube member. Also, hit that like button and subscribe if you want more Browns-focused content. It's an AFC North battle, and look, I'm not gonna lie. Most of the time, these have a little bit more pepper on them than this one has right now. It's shocking to say, but both teams are still below 500. Right, the Ravens are still 4-5 at this point. And these next three games, right? I think if you're the Ravens, you want to get to that Steelers game at 7-5, and you think that there's a good chance that the Steelers are going to get to that game at 7-5. So must-win game for the Baltimore Ravens this week as they get prepared to play the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland. And only person to bring onto the show in a moment like this is the man, the myth, the legend, Engraven Videos of Team Keep It Clean. Engraven, how has this, because like the Ravens do a run every year, right? Like every year they go on a little bit of a run whenever they're healthy, right? It's the Ravens run where everybody's like, oh, they're going to win the Super Bowl, right? How does it feel this year? Because usually the run is like, oh, we're going from 500 and like kind of being a little worried to taking the division, right? Now it's like you going from 1-5.
Yeah, 1-5.
Just trying to get to 500 right now. How has the season felt in the short term? And then like, how do you guys feel in the big picture of it all, given that this is still a Super Bowl or bust year for you?
It is. It's been crazy, man. It has been really, really crazy because we have such a crazy off season where we add in this piece and that piece, and we like, okay, we already did really good last year. Obviously came up short, but we got a loaded roster, man. We're gonna be nice, and then to start 1-1. It's like, okay, we lost to the Bills, had that late game collapse. It was frustrating, it was annoying, but we're gonna be fine in the long run. And then we beat the Browns, but then we end up losing to the Lions at home. It's like, oh, okay, we lost by 8. Then we lost to the Chiefs in Kansas City. It's like, oh, we got whooped in that one. And then Lamar went out, and we just kept losing and losing. And yeah, like you said, we dropped to 1-5, and we had a lot of uncomfortable conversations, a lot of tough conversations, but conversations that we've been actually having for years. But we still felt like there's still something left. Now, there were Ravens fans that were divided on this now. Now, me, I'm always going to want the Baltimore Ravens to win. Even though we would like some changes to happen, I still want the Ravens to have success. But there were some people that were like, you know what? Let's just tank the season. That'll be a way that we can move on from Harbaugh. That'll be the easiest way for us to move on from Harbaugh. We just tank the season, get rid of him, move on, start fresh. But then the Ravens, they started winning. And now, yeah, it is crazy to say that we actually 4-5 and have an opportunity, even though it's kind of different for us right now at this point of the season, because for us to be fighting to get to 500 at this point of the season is wild. It's different territory, but it's territory that will take, especially how the season started.
Is this the first time Lamar's been under 500, like more than a game under 500 since his rookie year when he took over for the team? Because weren't they under 500 at that point too?
Yeah, they were, because Flacco was starting, and then he had a hip injury versus the Steelers, and then Lamar took over. You know what? It might be.
Wow.
Especially this deep into the season too. Even though like there were some games that he didn't start, but still. But yeah, so this might be.
Yeah, it's a unique position here.
Yeah.
When you look at the Ravens, right, and we're looking at this from a Browns Ravens perspective this week, what do you worry about because this is a must-win game for you, right? So there has to be things you're like, all right, I don't want to see this pop up this week, right?
Yeah.
What are those things for you this week as the Ravens prepare for a must-win game in Cleveland?
It got trap game written all over it, man. Browns, of course, they're still the Browns, so they're gonna bring everything versus the Baltimore Ravens. And they, like the Browns at this point, I feel like they have nothing to lose. So whenever you playing somebody that has nothing to lose, those are the most dangerous teams to play against. And Browns would, of course, absolutely love to play spoiler to the Baltimore Ravens this week. Browns have a very physical defense. Of course, Myles Garrett, obviously one of the best, not the only best defenders, but best players in the league. And he is just, he's annoying, man. He's so good that he's annoying because it's like, man, go away, man. Just leave us alone. But him first and foremost. Just being disruptive. Our offensive line has been a big issue throughout the entire year. Through every win, through every loss, they have still been a significant issue. And just really, yeah, the defense, Browns defense is something that I will worry about in this game. Just the Baltimore Ravens and the run game, hoping that they can get that going because in the last game, yeah, the Ravens, we did win, I think 41-17. But the Browns, they said, look, Derrick Henry, you nice, you cool, but you ain't gonna be the reason the Ravens win this game. They sold out to stop Derrick Henry in that last game. He did a lot of nothing in that one, and Browns made sure of it. So I'm hoping that he could have a bounce back game in this one. That would be really, really nice. Now flipping it to the other side of the ball, because last time we went against Joe Flacco, this time we'll be going against Dylan Gabriel since Browns decided they wanted to give Joe Flacco to the Bengals. Oh, okay, cool, whatever. But I'm hoping because Roquan Smith, who I know you all continue to be a huge fan of, that might be your favorite player, not only in the AFC North, not only in the AFC, maybe in the NFL, but Roquan Smith.
Yeah, my dog.
In that. Even the way that you said that just now, like, yeah, my God. But I would love for him to have the kind of game he had the last time we played the Browns, because that version of Roquan Smith, we have not seen that since that Browns game. But we have not seen that in a long time since he's been with the Ravens. He hasn't been bad. It's like this terrible player. Well, I mean, yeah, Quincy, he might say otherwise, but we haven't seen that. Like
my whole point about Roquan Smith has always been that's the dude you traded for that played against the Browns that week, and that dude has showed up like 3 times. Like that has always been my point. Like Roquan's a good player. I'm never gonna say he's terrible, but you expected that dude not every week, but like, you know, we shouldn't be able to count him. You know what I mean? Like the times were like, oh, Roquan Smith did like, you know, and that's been my whole criticism of Roquan Smith is like, we talk about him like he does the Fred Warner stuff, but it's only on occasion that he has those games, and it's going to be interesting. I think this week's going to be one of those games for Roquan Smith. I'm just getting ahead of it just because the way that the Browns play, it neutralizes a lot of the weaknesses in this game, right? Like Roquan's not the biggest left to right mover anymore, right? Like he's just not that anymore. He's a downhill thumper, kind of like old school linebacker at this point of his career. And all the Browns are going to really do is ask Roquan to downhill thump, right? They're not really going to be able to move him that much. Maybe they get David Njoku. They try to get him one up on him. But even then, the routes that they run David Njoku on is not going to carry a ton of like, those routes aren't going to be super. Well, how do I put this? They're not going to ask Roquan to cover a lot of space, even if he's covering David Njoku, right? Because they're going to run David Njoku over the ball, or they're going to run David Njoku on mesh or something like that, right? Like they're going to keep it contained within the numbers here, which I think, you know, when you get Roquan spread out, I think like the Buffalo Bills did this really well, where they spread out the field and they put Roquan in space. And it's like, all right, we're just going to go and put the sniper scope on him and attack him. There is opportunity there. Browns don't have that ability, right? And I think that's going to be something that plays in to the Ravens defense's hands. I do think the Browns defense, right? That's the only player that we have in this game. Last time the Browns and Ravens played, I think special teams and the Browns offense combined for like 21 of the 40 points that you guys got in that game, or at least were responsible for most of those points. So, you know, maybe the defense can keep this game close enough to where a couple of field goals can take it. Let's talk about that Ravens secondary, right? Because I think that's also been a point of contention for this team. I think I heard, like, first of all, is everybody healthy in that Ravens secondary right now?
No. Marlon Humphrey is playing, but he's not fully healthy. He has a finger injury, and they've been debating, on whether or not he's going to have surgery on that finger or not. John Harbaugh did say he could continue to play through it, but if he does have the surgery, he might maybe miss 1 or 2 games. So we'll know more on that tomorrow. Well, actually later on this week. But that's besides that, everybody else is healthy. We used to have, back when we played the Browns before, we did have Jair Alexander, but we since traded him away to Philly. So he was the only person that I guess would be unhealthy, but he ain't even a Raven no more. So yeah, we're good.
Yeah, yeah. How do you feel about this Ravens defense? Because I know that was a big issue early in the season. Yeah, and the inability to get a pass rush. Now, ironically enough, I think the game that you guys played against the Browns, the pass rush was amazing against the Browns. Which, I mean, look, I think the Browns just have bigger problems than worrying about their competition at this point. We played like the Miami Dolphins earlier this season. 32nd ranked run defense. We averaged like 3 yards a carry. So like we got our own issues up front that make problems more difficult for the Browns. But like, how do you feel like things have progressed defensively for this Ravens team? Because I know that was a big concern early in the season.
Yeah, they've regressed, but then they progressed because I just realized with you talking about the last game that the last time we played the Browns, that was the last time that we had Nnamdi Madubuike in our lineup. And then in that game, that was his last one. He had a neck injury. Now he's out for the season, possibly maybe career. We won't know until the offseason. But anyway, yeah, the defense, they have been going through it for a while. But then they made the trade where they traded Odafe away to the Chargers, and we brought in Alohi Gilman in that trade, a safety from the Chargers. And a lot of us was wondering because literally that same day that they traded Odafe away and brought in Alohi Gilman, they signed CJ Gardner-Johnson to the practice squad. So like, what are they getting all these safeties for? Like, you got a million safeties on the team and you just added more. But Alohi Gilman ended up coming in to free up Kyle Hamilton. And ever since he's done that, Kyle Hamilton hasn't just been a drop back set. Well, he ain't really been playing safety anymore. He's just been all over the field as a pass rusher, as a linebacker, as a slot corner, just a unicorn, just doing everything. And ever since they made that switch to where the rookie Malachi Starks has continued to be dropped back and Alohi Gilman has been dropped back at safety, it's changed Kyle Hamilton's role, but it's changed the entire trajectory of Ravens defense and made them a lot better. To where we only gave up 17 points to a Rams team. Now they did lose Puka Nacua during the game, but it's still Matt Stafford, Devontae Adams, and gave up 17 points to them. To Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears, who they've been going crazy with it. We only gave up 16 points to them. To Tua Tagovailoa, who you never know what to expect because the previous week before we played them, he threw 4 touchdowns. The week after we played them, they end up beating the Bills. So you don't know what you're going to get from Tua. But when we played him, they only scored 6 points. And then against J.J. McCarthy and Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, J.J. McCarthy threw 2 interceptions. Justin Jefferson had 4 catches for 37 yards. Jordan Addison, I think maybe he only had like maybe 30-something yards. It was nothing crazy. Now, their other receiver, Jalen Naylor, he went crazy on us. But the defense has improved a lot, allowing Kyle Hamilton to be more free. Now, the pass rush, it is still an issue. We did see improvements against the Vikings. So now it's just about, all right, can we build some consistency with the pass rush? Ravens traded for Draymond Jones from Tennessee Titans, an edge rusher, and he made a significant impact on that game against the Vikings in his first game since being a Raven. Again, and like I said, it's just all about consistency now. So the defense has been better. They've been a lot better because ever since they gave up 44 to the Texans at M&T Bank Stadium, in such an embarrassing game, it's been nothing but improvement since then.
Yeah. So how are Raven fans feeling about this game going into it, right? Like what's the common like feeling there? Is this do they feel like they got this one in the bag, or is this kind of something where they're like, hey, this is not a good team, but Stefanski usually does split with the division, right? Because that has happened. I think last year was the Steelers and the Ravens. They split, right?
Yeah, we split.
Despite winning only 3 games. Do you like where is our Raven? Are they licking their chops watching like Dylan Gabriel play and saying to themselves like, oh yeah, like we gonna get some of that, like like I wonder like how they're looking, fans are looking at it, and like how the Ravens are looking at it as well.
I think from us from a fan's perspective, we haven't watched every single Dylan Gabriel snap. But when he has been in, I mean, he threw his first NFL touchdown against us, so you're welcome. But anyway, we just haven't heard many good things about Dylan Gabriel thus far to this point. But again, like I talked about earlier, it got trap game written all over it because the Browns, they're looking like the lesser team right now, but it is still a division game. So it's a coach that very familiar with you, a team that has a lot of players that are very familiar with you. We do feel like we're gonna get it, but still, it's like you still always have that uneasy feeling, especially going into a game like this against Cleveland, in Cleveland. Again, like I said earlier, with a team that has nothing to lose right now, because sure that how you look at it, like, okay, if the Browns, if they lose this game, then what? It would be, it is what it is. But if they win this game, then it's like, oh, we beat the Ravens. So, but they have nothing to lose. So it's just very, it's almost kind of like scary, almost. Like, again, expectations are high. Like, oh yeah, we feel like we should have this down. We should feel like we should dominate the Browns, take care of business. But at the same time,
like one weird game can happen.
Yeah.
And if this is the weird game, it's like double bad because it's also a division game, right?
Division, yeah, that makes it worse. So go ahead.
And it's like you're trying to get to the Steelers game and you're trying to have that game be for the control of the division. And if you lose this game, the odds of that being in control of the division probably are very low because I don't think the Steelers are going to lose their next two games, right? Like they're playing the Bengals, the Bears, and then I think they play like Buffalo or somebody like that.
Oh, they got Buffalo coming up too.
Yeah. So it's like you can look at one of those and go, oh, they're going to drop one of those games and be 7-5. But, more than that, it's like, okay, now you're climbing an uphill battle. Do you think, just from an outsider's perspective, because I've been having this debate, right? We all know how respected Mike Tomlin is within the division.
Right.
I truly believe that if the Ravens come back from 1-5 when they started 4-1, and then the Ravens beat the Steelers in Pittsburgh, against Pittsburgh, they beat the Steelers, and they take this division from Pittsburgh at the end of the season. There has been a lot of stuff that Mike Tomlin has gotten away with that other coaches get in trouble for. Right? He's gotten away with a lot.
For years.
For years, right? Like, I talk about it, people are like, you can't even think about firing Mike Tomlin. Like, people get fired for losing in the playoffs as long as Mike Tomlin has lost, right? Well, I think hasn't won a playoff game since, like, Blake Bortles was the quarterback for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Or I think
it's been a while.
It's been a long time. It's a different era of football, right? Like, I think it was before Pat Mahomes was in the league is the last time.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about, right? And he's gotten away with a lot. And anytime you suggest to fire him, the media always hits you back with that crazy talk.
Yeah.
I think this would be the first thing that sticks on his jacket. Like, you can't get rid of that one locally or nationally, where people go, I think I see what they mean when they talk about firing Mike Tomlin, right? Like, I think that losing this division lead after what has happened to them over the last few years, right? Where this is a team that has been synonymous with collapsing late in the season,
right,
and then losing a playoff game in the first round. The combination of that history plus, wow, the Ravens started 1-5 and they won the division. And the crazy part is, it wasn't even a surprise, right? People were saying, wait, it was like 70% odds after the Ravens won a game and the Steelers lost the game to go 2-5, that they were like, oh, the Ravens going to win the division. When it's at that point of, like, people just are predicting your unseriousness, I feel like this is the one that sticks to his jacket. It doesn't get him fired, but it does normalize the conversation of firing Mike Tomlin, which has been, like, taboo amongst the national media for, like, years, right? I think this is the one where it's like, hey, you're going to hear First Take talk about Mike Tomlin might have to be fired.
I think they should. They should talk about it because it's been something like you talked about, the collapses from Pittsburgh in the not even posted, but in a regular season. What was I forget what year it was where they started like 10 or 11-0. They were looking like this strong powerhouse team.
I remember that year.
Losing.
That was the pandemic year. Yeah, they went like 12-0, and then they lost to the Bengals on Monday Night Football. Juju was doing them dances at
The dancing.
midfield.
And then it
Yeah,
got
and
whacked.
then
Yeah.
they played the Browns in the first round of the playoff in front of 45 million people, according to Nielsen records, in Pittsburgh, and lost that game by 20. And Big Man cried after the game. I remember that game. I remember that season fondly. Yes.
So yeah, this is nothing new for the. Well, yeah, this is nothing new for them because they've been doing this for a while. So, but Mike Tomlin, yeah, he has this like this ultimate NFL respect to where like yeah, he cannot be touched no matter what. And I actually feel like John Harbaugh, he has that respect as well. And a lot of times, if us as Ravens fans, we've had conversations, plenty of conversations that the Ravens should move on from John Harbaugh, and people, whether fans, media, analysts, they look at us like we crazy or something. Like, what you really like? Even oh, well, I forget his name, Swagoo.
Marcus Spears.
Yeah, he was getting into it on Twitter with a bunch of Ravens fans when we was telling about, hey, Harbaugh, we need to move on from Harbaugh. He was like, for what? Why would y'all move on from like calling it stupid and whatnot and saying, oh, if not Harbaugh, then who and stuff. But anyway, I feel like it's the same kind of vibe with a Mike Tomlin. It's like they are untouchable, invincible, and they have some of the longest leashes ever. Now, of course, they have accomplished plenty of stuff, but still, it's like, what have you done for me lately?
Well, when I look at Tomlin and Harbaugh and how people react to like the conversation of being fired, I think about like how much like marketing is important, like how much you just like market yourself as a coach. Because I'm like, what separates them from what's his name? He used to be the head coach in Mike McCarthy. Like,
oh, Green Bay.
Yeah, won the Super Bowl early in their career.
Right.
You know, some not so great runs after that, but still over 500 for the most part. Always like a decent enough team, right? You know, Mike McCarthy teams are always decent, not really bad football teams. But boy, can people justify firing Mike McCarthy? But you talk about firing John Harbaugh or Mike Tomlin, all of a sudden people get up in arms about it. But I'm like, are they not the same coach? Like, is this not the same record over the last 10 years? Yeah, it's like, and the crazy thing is Mike McCarthy got fired and nobody hiring him.
Oh, yeah. That's true. Fired from the Cowboys and nothing happened.
He got the Brian Billick treatment. I'm like, dang, he won the Super Bowl, right? Like, but they just kind of let him sit out there, right? But then we get to Mike Tomlin, we get to John Harbaugh, and people like it's a different conversation with them. I'm like, with the Ravens championship was in 2012, and respectfully, I was in high school in 2012, right? Like that was I'm a 30-year-old man with bills now, right? Like I was in high school. I got a nephew, okay? Like I was 17 the last time the Ravens won. I don't even remember. How old was I when the last time the Steelers won a championship? Was that 09? I was a freshman.
I think it was 08. Was it 08 or 09?
Yeah, I was in middle school the last time the Steelers won a championship. My nephew is about to be in middle school. Okay. Like that is how long ago it was. And it's just like, it's interesting who people decide their past accomplishments are make them untouchable versus not. And how that gets determined, because you know, just being in the large media market in Dallas has made Mike McCarthy just completely touchable, right? You know, getting the whole Aaron Rodgers fiasco made him touchable. But you know, you look at Green Bay, they're probably better off after they fired not Mike Tomlin, but Mike McCarthy, right? They got Matt LaFleur out of that, right? And they moved on to Jordan Love. So it's like they feel like they're better. It's going to be interesting to see a division that has been lauded for its stability. Every fan base is looking at their coach like, hey, man, he might have to go.
That's true. All four, yeah. That's
everybody want him to go. And you know what's funny? All four of them, if they get fired, probably get jobs somewhere else immediately. Job offers.
They would. They would for sure.
Do you think John, if he got fired, would take a job immediately? Because I think he would go to media. I think he is.
Nah.
He would definitely go to media.
Nah, I think if he still wanted to coach, I think he would coach. Yeah, I think he would coach. I think he would continue just to try to show like, hey, I could still make this thing happen. And it's funny because with John Harbaugh and Mike Tomlin, both feel it seems like they untouchable, but just for obvious different reasons. For John Harbaugh, it's been all right. You got the best quarterback in the game. You got Lamar. You got that dude. Y'all just keep coming up short. You done had these nice teams, these nice rosters, but y'all keep coming up short. So something's got to give. And with Mike Tomlin, it's been all right, you start off strong in the regular season, and then you just continue to collapse. And then if your team makes the playoffs, then you just the collapse continues all through the playoffs. So two different conversations, but still coaches that need to be examined.
Do you think that John Harbaugh is like, do you feel like it's more of an Eric DeCosta thing on why the Ravens haven't broken through because they haven't been like aggressive talent acquisition wise to be able to break through that ceiling? Or do you think it's a John Harbaugh thing is like whatever he's selling in the playoffs is not landing? Like where do you land on that part of it? Because I could see where some people could say, I think John's fine, but you know, the most aggressive move we've made was to get a linebacker, like an off-ball linebacker, right? Like, are we making the proper moves? We haven't made these aggressive moves to go get an edge. There's been edges available last 3 trade deadlines. We joked about the wide receiver Photoshop thing, right? Where it's like the Ravens will always be photoshopping wide receivers into the uniform that they're not going to get, or they get like 3 or 4 years after the fact, like they got DeAndre Hopkins, right? Or Odell Beckham, right? It's like, you know,
Deshaun Jackson, there's Brian.
It's like you always get them like when they hit the clearance rack. It's like, all right, now we can go get that video game you want, right? After it's on greatest hits on PlayStation 2. But do you feel like the problems that people complain about with the Ravens, where it just doesn't feel like they have the sense of urgency to win a championship, is that a John Harbaugh thing, or is that maybe more of an Eric DeCosta thing?
Some of both. I think the shortcomings have been more on John Harbaugh, but the bigger picture would actually be on the owner, Steve Bisciotti, because it's like, all right, how much are you willing to tolerate, and how much do you really want to build or have a winning team? Because he somebody that's usually in the background. He don't really say too much, but there was a time years ago when him and Harbaugh and DeCosta, they were having a press, and they just talked about always just wanting to remain competitive, always wanting to be competitive to make the playoffs. And that rubbed a lot of Ravens fans the wrong way, because we're like, hold it, like you just want to make the playoffs. That's it. You ain't talk about championships and nothing like that. But yeah, so it goes from the top down for sure. But you look at the teams like the roster the Ravens had last year, and it was pretty good, and it was good enough to get it done, but they fell short. You look at the team that they had the year before that in 2023, it was pretty good, but they ended up still falling short. But yeah, it's been mostly on John Harbaugh, but Eric DeCosta, he's somebody that also we've had conversations on the channel, especially recently about Eric DeCosta and just how he likes to play it safe. He likes to take the safe approach, and there has been like a lack of aggression. You mentioned it with, especially with the receivers, the clearance rack you talked about. It's funny because that's something that's known not even just amongst Ravens fans or even the AFC North fans, but around the league. Because I saw, of course, there was the rumors about AJ Brown possibly getting traded, even though Adam Schefter said there were no rumors about that. They had a little reporting war between him and Diana Rossini. But anyway, with AJ Brown, somebody was saying, "Oh, I wonder if AJ Brown going to get traded this offseason." And Bleacher Report suggested that the Ravens trade a first-round pick and some change for AJ Brown. And then one person said, "Oh, Eric DeCosta will never trade a first-round pick," which is probably true because he throws for sure. But then somebody else said, "No, Ravens are going to wait till like 2038 when AJ Brown like 38, 40 years old. Then they're going to sign him and say, we finally got him." Yeah. So I was like, hey, I can't even argue with that because that's what happens a lot with this team. Go ahead.
Yeah, and it is like with the Ravens, I think there are two philosophies on trying to win a Super Bowl, right? There is the aggressive, like the Les Snead way, where Les Snead and the Rams that year in 2021, they pushed the chips all the way in. They got Odell Beckham, they made all these moves, they were super aggressive, and they won their championship. The Ravens believe in the Tim Dungy Colts way of winning a Super Bowl, which is we got Peyton Manning, we're going to make the playoffs. Eventually, things are going to break our way, right? And if you look at that year that the Colts won that Super Bowl, right? You ever look at Peyton Manning's stats that year?
No.
In the playoffs? What I tell you, let me pull it up for you real quick because I think this would be an interesting reaction here. Let's see here. Okay, playoffs. So he won the Super Bowl in 2006. Peyton Manning on 63.4% completion percentage.
Okay.
Threw for about 1,000 yards. That's good, right? 1,000 yards, 4 games, 3 touchdowns. Guess how many interceptions?
I'm going to go 5.
7.
Oh, 7.
7 interceptions the year that they won the Super Bowl.
Dang.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the next year that he won the Super Bowl, Peyton threw for 539 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception in 4 games.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, 3 games, my bad. They had the bye week that year. But
yeah, they that's when the Denver had that crazy defense, man.
Yeah. That he had a career high in postseason interceptions the year he won the Super Bowl. And that is to say, the Colts' whole philosophy was like, hey, 1 year is going to break right for us. Right. And I think that's Eric DeCosta's strategy. It's like, if we keep making the playoffs, we keep getting tickets to the lottery, and eventually our number's going to hit. I think that's truly the strategy for the Ravens.
You know what? That would make sense because that's the strategy that they take with the draft because they a lot of times we'll be thinking, oh, Ravens, you should move up, get aggressive with it. But they end up whether trading back or they end up holding on to just so many draft picks. And this happened, I think it happened last year where they had a lot of draft picks, and it happened in 2000, what was it, 22? I think it was another year where they had like 11 draft picks. And I was telling people for sure leading up to the draft, there is absolutely no way the Ravens draft 11 play. That ain't happening. They're going to trade some away. They got, nah. And lo and behold, they drafted all 11 players, and they did it again last season too. So, and he talks about it too. He said, hey, the more chances you take to swing, the more swings you take, the more opportunities you get to hit a home run on a player. So it does seem like it might be that same way when it comes to just winning, when it comes to the playoffs, when it comes to them hoping for a Super Bowl. They take that laid back, that chill, non-aggressive approach and just hope that things end up working themselves out. And we obviously hope that they work themselves out, but we would just love to see a bit more aggression from our general manager.
Now, I do wonder how Lamar feels about this strategy because, like, the undeniable thing that has done to Peyton Manning is that's made him number 2 to Tom Brady, right? Like, that approach to trying to win a championship, which is, hey, we're just going to make minimal changes. We're going to stay a very good team. And sometimes that means we're not going to get over the hump. That meant that Peyton Manning, like 14 tries, got to the Super Bowl twice, and you're comparing that to like Tom Brady and the Patriots. Now, part of that is on Peyton because Peyton wasn't the most consistent quarterback in the world for somebody who was as great as he was at the position. But, it did have its effect. And, I don't think it's a mistake that people compare what Lamar does now to what Peyton used to do 10 years ago. Well, not even 10 years ago. This made me feel old. 20 years ago. Whew. Ha. Ouch. Old. Okay. I think that's enough. Okay.
We gotta embrace it, man. Gotta embrace it.
Yeah, what they say, we're about to get the UNC status in a few years here. So, we'll see where we at there. But appreciate it, Graven, for coming on, sure, chatting Browns Ravens with me, man. Any final thoughts that you want to let out here? Any words of encouragement for Browns fans that you would like to spread out here while you got the opportunity?
I will say now, I know we allowed Dylan Gabriel to throw his first touchdown, and I am 99.99% sure that the Ravens game was, I I know I'm gonna mess up his name. Junkins.
Quinshon Judkins, yes.
Quinshon Junkins. That was his very first NFL game,
Yes.
and that one, and now I done seen him in a couple different games too. That boy's a baller, man. That boy is really like that, man. He is really like that. He is nice, man, because he runs with speed, but he runs with power too. That boy, he's something serious, man. So y'all got one. Because I think the last like really good running back for the Browns was Nick Chubb, and he obviously a baller too. But Judkins, yeah, he's nice. He really is like that, man.
You know how good Quinshon's been? I haven't heard Browns fans complain about Nick Chubb all year. Like that is the hallmark of, okay, yeah, you drafted somebody good. When you don't hear people complain, like JOK's been out the whole season, and I really haven't heard much about it because Carson Schwarzenegger's been playing really well.
Oh, the rookie
as well, yeah. So it's the one shining thing for the Browns is that, hey, the guys you drafted recently, some of the undrafted guys like Ronnie Hickman that you got in 2023, you know, those guys are hitting and they're becoming good players, and that there are bones here for a good team. I think the Browns need to spend a lot of resources this offseason on the offense, you know, wide receivers, offensive line, the whole thing. But also the elephant in the room is, man, you got to get you somebody who you think you can put you on the same platform as Lamar Jackson or Joe Burrow in this division, if you want to compete for it. And the Browns might have a golden opportunity to do that this offseason. So hopefully they get that solved. But, you know, you'd be surprised. I mean, look, we got Axe and Graven right now. How fast did things change once Lamar Jackson started playing for the Ravens?
That was crazy, man.
Because the Ravens, when Lamar took over, the Ravens had problems, right? And you're like, oh man, it's gonna be this, and we need it's gonna take 2-3 years and all of that. And then Lamar Jackson pop up, and then boom, you the one seed in 2019.
So you get, things can change just like that. I think the year that Lamar's rookie year, that was the year that we all went to the Ravens training camp together, right?
Well, I think that was his second year we all went together.
Oh, that's 2019?
Yeah, because he was already the quarterback by then.
Okay, man, that's crazy times, man. Time
yeah,
flies,
I think was that the
man.
same year that Chuck Clark and Earl got into that fight?
Okay, no, that was I think that was the year after. Oh, crazy times, man. But when you get that right guy, man, they instantly just change everything, inject new life into the team. Because I remember in 2018, the Ravens, they were dead in the water. They were dead in the water. It looked like we were done. And I remember I tweeted it out. I tweeted a tweet and I said, goodbye, John Harbaugh, and goodbye, Joe Flacco, because I thought that was it for both of them after that year. But then they put Lamar in, and then, the rest was history.
Yep. Quarterback, it don't fix everything, but it do a lot, right? That's the truth about it. But appreciate you being on here, Engraven. Make sure you guys go check out Engraven at Engraven Vids on YouTube. You guys know what it is there. Where you at subscriber wise? Every time I check, I'm like, man, he just keep growing in that subscriber count.
We got about 86,000.
Ooh. Woo! You gonna get your plaque soon, man. That's gonna be awesome.
I hope so. That'd be nice, but we'll see. Slow growth better than no growth. So we trying.
I'll be worried. I'm like, the day I get the plaque is the day YouTube send out that memo and be like, we not sending these out no more.
Nah.
I'm like, I've already told myself, like, I'm not even gonna hype myself up for it. But y'all have a great day. Have an even better night. Appreciate you, Engraven, for coming on. Y'all have a great day. Peace.